Let's look at some of the neuroscience or the brain science that has to do with personal mastery. When Senge talks about personal mastery, he's essentially talking about who we think we are, who we identify as, how we see the world compared to actual reality. We tend to see ourselves differently than other people see us. We tend to see the world differently than other people see the world. And as we gain more personal mastery, which happens as we mature, if we're working on it, then typically what we say we believe and who we actually are, how we act, what we say, those two things begin to match up more and more. But why don't they to begin with? One of the theories from action science around this is called the ladder of inference. And it has to do with the assumptions and biases that our brain makes very quickly on a daily basis. When you look at the bottom of the ladder of inference, there are simply experiences that we have. Reality, data, and experience. So I see my boss, and he has a look that is kind of a furrowed eyebrow look, and his mouth is pursed. The next level of the data is I select data from what I observe. Well, already what I observed was not objective. I was commenting on his furrowed eyebrows and his mouth and nothing else about his appearance. So already I pre-selected certain data that I paid attention to. The next level is I add meanings. Well, when I was a child, if my dad had a furrowed eyebrow and a pursed mouth, it meant that he was not happy with me on very many occasions. So the next level is I'm making an assumption that my boss is not happy with me. Then I draw conclusions. Uh-oh, he's not happy with me because I did not turn in those lesson plans on time, and he realizes it. And then all the way up to adopting beliefs about the world. I have entire beliefs about the world, maybe about men or about male bosses and how they act. And then my actions end up reflecting these beliefs. I might end up acting intimidated or without confidence because of this belief that now is spread out across male bosses. And what's interesting about the ladder of inference is how quickly it happens. We take one look at someone and we've ascended the ladder of inference in no time. I mean, I actually have no idea why my boss had furrowed eyebrows and pursed lips. It likely had nothing to do with me at all. Well, there are some reasons for this, and there are some results of it. We all have blind spots. We have literal blind spots, and we have metaphoric blind spots. Try this exercise. Cover your right eye, and with your left eye, stare at the cross. You might have to move forward a little bit toward your computer or move back, but at some point you'll notice that the black dot completely disappears. Well, there are some scientific reasons for that. The point is that we think that what we see and how we interpret what we see is reality, and it is not. Our brain and our emotions are always playing tricks on us, and we do not really see reality. It takes other people to help us see reality. One of the results of this is that we say we believe in a certain thing or we act a certain way, but we really end up with theories in use that are very different. In a moment, I'm going to share some of the research behind implicit bias science, and we're going to talk specifically about racial bias, partly because that is such an important issue in our society, and also because it's one of the hardest biases to understand and to uncover. So, for instance, I, as a principal, might have an espoused theory that I am not racist and that I believe in affirmative action and I intend to hire people of color. However, according to the research, when people submit a resume that has a name on it that's a stereotypical African American name, the person that has a stereotypical white name is 36% more likely to be hired, with the same experience and the same qualifications. And there are many studies very similar to this, indicating that even people who believe in affirmative action and intend to hire people of color still end up, even though that's their espoused theory, still end up having a theory in use that is different from what they actually say they believe. Yet this is completely outside their awareness. It has to do with their unconscious, or what we call implicit bias. I'm going to end this talk by using the metaphor of a dance to better understand personal mastery and what it has to do with systems thinking. When we're on the dance floor, if you've ever contra danced or barn danced or something like that, we get caught up in the dance. We can compare that to the system. There we are spinning around. But our goal is to be able to go to the balcony where we can step aside and see the entire system. Look out and understand what is happening from a perspective that we did not have before. And eventually we want to gain a larger and larger perspective